G'day and welcome to another vocal... No, I did it again. I did it again. Welcome to another live hangout here at Voice Essentials. I'm going to keep doing it. You know I'm going to keep doing it. I'm recording so many vocal analysis videos at the moment. It's just a habit. So please forgive me. Happy Monday. If it's Monday for you, happy Sunday. If it's Sunday for you, I hope you're happy and healthy. Of course, we had the news of the Moroccan earthquake over the weekend. Tragic circumstances over there. So, quite concerning to see that. So wherever you are on the planet, I hope you're well. We've had a bit of a turn in weather. We were sort of heading into a definite summer, but now winter's trying to hold on, and we're a bit cool here where we are. So let us know where you. David has let us know in the chat where he's from. He's from Victoria. Hello, David. And of course, Linda is from Hobart down in Tassie. And Linda's a real trooper. Linda hasn't been feeling well. Just your common cold and flu over the last week or so. So Linda, I hope you're feeling better. And thank you for you're a champion. Just being able to front up and still hang out in the chat and collect our questions. That's what Linda does. If you've got a question, make sure you throw it into the live chat. And because today we're doing a Q&A. We're going to be answering your questions as we go along, and so throw it into the live chat. If you think to, put a super chat with it, because a super chat is where you put a little bit of money with the chat, with the question, and we prioritize that that question. Otherwise, we just go through them step by step chronologically. I want to throw a special birthday mention out to my eldest, Caitlin. It is her birthday today. Happy birthday, Caitlin. I say that knowing she will never watch this show. So I'm basically just letting everyone know it's my daughter's birthday today. She turns the ripe age of 22 today. She was born on the day of the September 11 attacks. And so our world was going to change. Jodie's and my world was going to change regardless, because with the birth of our first child, but certainly the world did change 22 years ago with that horrific occurrence of the Twin Towers coming down. But happy birthday, Katie. We're having her over for dinner tonight, and which I'm looking forward to, and so that will be good. What else? I've got some news. Not news, just some diary stuff for you. Next week we don't have a live hangout. Next week I'm on studio break. I always find I call it studio break. It's really a week of teaching break. I take a week off so that I can do all of my, well, not all of it, some more video shoots and whatever for videos for the YouTube channel. And so I'll be doing all of that next week. So anyway, no live next week. The week after, we will do what will we do? We will do another Q&A. Then the week after that, here in Brisbane, Australia, in Queensland, the state of Australia that I live in, Queensland, we have the King's birthday. Of course, we're a part of the Commonwealth here in Australia, the British Commonwealth. And so we always have a 1 day set aside for is this the first? I don't think this is the first King's, I think it might be the first gazetted King's birthday after the Queen passed away last year, 12 months ago. So anyway, we've got the King's birthday on, I want to say the 2nd of October. So then we'll come back and we'll get into a string of lives all the way through to the end of the year. certainly the end of November. Well, of course, we always take December, January off from the lives. So that is an extended break. We do it every year. I do take a holiday at that period of time, and so does Linda. Linda, who fronts up every Monday and does our live chat, and also every Tuesday morning, Linda then re-watches every show. No one watches these shows more than Linda. She re-watches them and gives me the time codes so that I can put that into the description so that YouTube likes us a little bit more. And so Linda does all of that. So Linda needs a break over December, January. And of course, that's also in Australia, that's also quite a festive season with Christmas and New Year's and people getting all ready for their new year. So that's kind of gives you a layout of where we're headed over the next few weeks and months. And I'll let you know now, I have every intention of continuing the live show in 2024. I can't see a reason why we wouldn't, because you continue to have questions and I continue to have some answers. So we'll continue to do that. And we'll have more guests in the new year. It must admit, we're going to finish the year a bit light on with our guests. I've got 2 guests that we're going to have, at least one, because two of the guests that we were supposed to see this term have had to waylay again, both for very legitimate reasons. They're completely separate. But I've been enjoying doing the mini topics, so we're going to do a few more of those next term, and some Q&A, and we'll have a couple of guests, and so that will be good. So we've got a question coming in here, so let's get to said questions after this. Oh, hang on a second. We're going blank. Okay. Let me find said question so I can throw it up here. Bring that down, I think. Is that right? I think we're right. I think we're good. Let's throw David's question up here. So David is just wondering, why do I get hoarse with my voice even though I've warmed up my voice? Well, David, there could be any number of reasons for that. It could be, warming up the voice, and it is important, and I encourage you to do it every time before you sing. But warming up the voice does not then mean the voice will perform in pristine condition when the moment comes to place the voice under load for performance. That is then going to be driven by your technique and how you use your voice, the function of your voice, as well as some organic things that might be at play. And of course, we can't diagnose these things on this show. That's the job of a laryngologist. But it can also be how you are warming up. Is what you're doing during your warm-up balanced and measured and carefully structured so that the voice is being prepared well for use? These are all things that I can't determine for you, having never heard you and worked with you, but certainly there's some things for you to think about. Hydration is a big thing. Are you singing on a dehydrated instrument? Is your body dehydrated? Is the voice already fatigued due to other matters? Are you a habitual clearer, for example? Do you suffer from reflux or allergies? So these are all factors that can lead to a voice that is, behaving in a less than optimal manner, and that can, of course, be hoarseness. when I work with a singer and I observe after a number of lessons with them, and my observation is that the things that we are doing technically with the voice, that is all designed to help rebalance the function of the voice. When I observe that, let's say in the case of hoarseness, that husky, when I observe the voice doesn't seem on the surface of things to be improving, and I'm talking over the period of a 6 to 8 week sort of mark, then I would typically encourage, I can't instruct anyone to go and see a laryngologist, but I would generally encourage said singer to go and have the voice looked at, because what I want to ensure, or what I want to have diagnosed is there any pathology? Is there an organic issue going on? Whether it be nodules or a polyp or a cyst, or there's any number of things that can be going on there. And if it's not a pathology, then is there a functional issue that we're not being able to observe just in the play of a lesson? And these are the things that a laryngologist can absolutely determine, because they've got all the tech to look up through the nose and down onto the top of the vocal folds and have a look at all of those sorts of things. So, it might be, David, that you want to go and, talk to a laryngologist and have a look. It can actually be really beneficial to do that anyway, because it can be really positive to develop a baseline, a view of your voice. So, for example, if you go to the laryngologist and you see nothing untowards, everything's great, that also is really worthwhile, because now you have historical data, a viewing of the voice, of your voice, in its normal state, in its healthy, normal state. So should something go awry in the future, you've got something to compare that to. And that can be just as powerful, just as useful as actually going to the laryngologist, having a video stroboscopy done, and finding something that may well be unexpected. So well worth doing. But again, attend to all of those other factors, David. Your hydration, check that you're not suffering from any sustained chronic reflux. Make sure you're not, constantly clearing your throat. Ensure that you are doing a really well-balanced, methodical warm-up. 5 to 10 minutes. I've got warm-up videos on the channel that you'll find helpful. And just make sure that when you do, your voice does get to that place where you are starting to really practice or perform, that the voice is starting from a good place. I hope that's helpful. David, I've just seen an additional point here from you. After my gig in an aged care setting, 1 hour long plus playing guitar. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I don't know that adds anything extra to what I would say, other than depending on the nursing care, the aged care setting, it might be that you are trying to encourage participation from the residents of the aged care facility, and that can cause us to drive the voice a little harder. Worship singers, worship leaders come into the same sort of issues as they try to encourage that congregational participation. And so just try to be mindful of the way you are presenting your voice to the participants, because it might be that you're just placing the voice under that little bit of additional load, which is maybe, just wearing and tearing and fatiguing the voice at a high rate. David, I hope that is helpful. helpful? I do hope that is helpful. Additional to that, can I say I've got so much time and respect for singers who do go into aged care facilities, and also we have a program here in Brisbane, and you might have one local to your area, but it's here in Brisbane, it's called the Stairwell Project, and it's where musicians, and I'm thinking particularly of a gentleman who I went through my doctoral years with. Michael Knopf is his name. He's a classical guitarist. He's a part of the Stairwell Project, and I just think that's wonderful. What they do is they go into hospitals and they just play. Often not just in the stairwells, but also in the ward, and he just sits there and plays classical guitar, so that the rooms and the ward is filled with music. Isn't that fantastic? And Michael has been doing that for years and years, and I just think that's marvelous. I really do. To give music in such a beautiful way that brings about so much comfort is fantastic. And again, Michael won't have any reason to be watching our show today, but Michael, if you were to ever watch this show, my hat's off to you, sir. And to the whole team who do that. I think that's wonderful. And to you, David, who you going into the aged care facility. I think that's fantastic. We've got some questions here from, while we're waiting for some more questions to come in. Make sure, throw your questions into the live chat. But while we're waiting for some other questions to come in, VY asked this question a couple of weeks ago. Hello, Dr. Dan. What can be the reason for feeling uncomfortable when taking in air for breathing while singing? And if it feels like I don't take in enough air? They then asked an additional question, which I think they do marry together. I find it difficult to master proper breathing, beginning right from the breathing in before singing. I seem to understand the issue theoretically, but I still might struggle with it when practicing. I need some advice on that, please. So this is all about the intake of air. And I've spoken to this before, but it's worth reminding us, whenever we think of breathing, we're often thinking about how much air I have to then extend my exhalation of air over an extended period of time. We're often thinking about the exhalation, the use of air to fuel the sound. And we often don't pay enough attention to the intake of air. And it can be quite revelationary to a student when I work specifically on how they are intaking the air. In singing, it's not uncommon for us to find ourselves searching for and grabbing air between phrases because we feel like we don't have a lot of time to grab our air. And so we suck it in like a human vacuum cleaner. As a result, we not only breathe high, we kind of take it in high, but we also take it in with a really constricted and contracted airway. So that when we then start to sing our phrase, the voice will start pressed with high subglottal pressure because the air's sitting high, the pressure's quite high, but everything's constricted, everything's really tight. And so that leads to really high levels of wear and tear on the voice over the period. If you're breathing like that, it won't just simply be, you'll experience fatigue over a whole set of singing, 30, 40, 50 minutes. you can experience over it significant fatigue over a song, because everything is just working really inefficiently. And so what we have to learn to do is, it's not in the quantity of air that you take in, it's in the quality of air that you take in. That we learn to release our abdominal wall, have the diaphragm contract downwards in a really measured, very quick, it can contract very quickly downwards, so that the air is taken low, deep into the lungs, so it doesn't create really high levels of pressure sitting directly under the larynx. But also, because you took that really good quality of air, in doing so, you've opened the vocal tract in a way that releases tension. I say all the time, good breath management is intertwined with good tension management. When you breathe well, you will manage your tension well. And so I want to encourage you to think about VY. I want to encourage you to think about, how are you taking your air in? Is the quality of your intake in keeping with the quality that you are seeking in your outtake, in the way the voice then flows through your larynx? It well could be that's that same. So your question again was, what can be the reason for feeling uncomfortable when taking in air for breathing? It well could be that you're trying to breathe in while your instrument, your body, is holding too much tightness, too much tension. If you can learn to release and keep everything much more free, then I think the quality of your breath will be such that that sense of discomfort will be alleviated somewhat. And I do hope that's helpful. Breath management, it's so important. You may come into contact with this online, because I continue to see it, this idea that, with breathing, just set it and forget it. You breathe all day, every day, it's all fine. No, you have tidal breath all day, every day, and that's fine. That's true. We breathe in pretty much okay for our tidal breathing, that all day, every day breathing, from the moment you're born through to the moment you pass. That's a set and forget, absolutely. But singing is a conscious decision where we elongate breath and have to take quick intakes of air. It's something you have to learn to do. This is not a natural process for the majority of people. In fact, I am yet, and I've been doing this 28 years, teaching voice that is, I am yet to meet a singer who has stepped into my studio who has not benefited from intentionally working the area of their breath management. That's not to say everyone comes in being absolutely terrible at it, but everyone, every single student, and I've taught thousands, every single student has benefited from developing and refining their breath management process. And I'm very confident in saying, if you're watching today's show, you won't be any different. You, of course, can have a look at the development of your breath management via the online courses here at Voice Essentials. You can grab just the audio tracks if you haven't already, or can I encourage you, enroll in the Voice Essentials singing courses. Thousands of people have done so, and I continue to get feedback as to how beneficial it has been for the development of their singing. It is not a course process where I teach you songs. That has its place, and there are plenty of people who do that work. I am a singing voice specialist, non-clinical singing voice specialist. My focus is teaching your voice how to sing, not what to sing. You get to make that choice. This is a very technically focused coursework that will really benefit the development of your voice, and breath management's a big part of it. And there's multiple exercises that go into that, and there's multiple people in the chat that can let you know more about that. Okay, how are we going? David's asking here this question. Let me just grab this question here from David again. Will air conditioning affect the voice? I find so, David, depending on obviously we use air conditioning, right, to cool, but we also use it. It can be used to heat. David, you're down in Victoria, and so certainly having come out of the winter months down in Victoria, it can get quite cool, can't it? And so you'll almost certainly have been using air conditioning to warm. The key function of an air conditioner is to remove moisture from the air, is to remove humidity, hydration from the air. And so it's very drying, regardless of whether it's heating or cooling, it'll do the same thing. What are we as singers constantly trying to do? We're trying to keep the voice well hydrated. And so it can be very difficult to do that in air-conditioned spaces. That being said, we're coming into the month. I don't have it on right now, but just as I'm talking about it, I'm starting to feel hot. So it's probably psychosomatic. We're coming into the warmer months here in Brisbane, Australia. There is no way that I won't I have the air conditioning on here for 6 months of the year, David, with students singing in it, or I'm singing in it all day, every day. So air conditioning is a modern wonder. We love it, but you do have to rehydrate. You've got to be mindful of just how much air it's drawing out of how much moisture it's drawing out of the air, and you've got to replenish your body with that level of hydration. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, let's come down here to Icy Boy's question. This is from a couple of weeks ago as well. Hi, Dr. Dan. I'm 18-year-old male, and I had vocal coaching for 4 years. That's awesome. I've found out recently that I have tongue, jaw, and neck tension. Could I have developed these habits from puberty, and what can I do? If we're talking just really stock standard tongue, jaw, and neck tension, I'd be reticent to blame it on puberty. Icy Boy, I doubt it. I don't know that puberty is going to be our smoking gun. That being said, as you have come through a period of, I dare say, physical change, as far as your morphology, your body's size and dimension, and so arriving at your newfound, which will have been established for probably a year or two now, your newfound physical height and sense of stature, we can carry a bit of jaw and tongue and neck tension. Tongue tension tends to come from a breath management issue. The key driver of tongue root tension is poor breath management for most people. So too, if you're struggling with jaw tension, that too could be coming from poor breath management. Neck tension, that too could be coming from poor breath management. But it can also come from poor body alignment. Look, most adults, Icy Boy, most adults tend to carry tension in their neck and their shoulders. Adulting can be stressful. So our bodies tend to collect stress and tension. And so a big part of our singing is the management of said tension, learning to release. You know, I realized about about 2 or 3 years ago that these muscles here that run up sort of through my shoulders up into the back of my skull, I constantly had them turned on, like just constantly. And so every now and then I will recognize it. When I notice it the most is when I'm sitting at the dining room table, and I'll suddenly go, oh, come on, just release, just turn those off. It's learning to turn certain muscular points off that's really important. If you're really interested in this sort of stuff, Icy Boy, can I encourage you to look into either Feldenkrais or Alexander technique, these body mode methodologies that teach us to be mindful of our bodies in space and how we use them. It can be really helpful in managing tension. And I do have another a video, I think it's called 6 ways to improve your posture. I don't know. I think it's something like that. If you jump across to the channel and go to the videos tab and type it into the search, I'm pretty sure it's, type in the word posture, which is a word I don't like to use when it comes to body alignment, but it's the word that most people will search with, so that's in the title. Type in the word posture, and I think you'll find it'll come up, and hopefully that you find that helpful. We have got one more question listed here. So we've done pretty well in getting through some of our historical questions. This question was from so August the 14th. Gee, I have been saying a couple of weeks ago. That's nearly a month ago. Where has the year gone? So James Bond asks this question about 3 weeks ago, August the 21st. How do you get rid of nasal congestion in the back of the throat and nose? Is that caused by singing or caused by other things maybe? Nasal congestion can be for a whole range of different reasons. So the really simple ones can be, it can be by virtue of the fact that you're dehydrated, and so everything just, there's less moisture for your body to call upon to really keep that area clean and hydrated. It can be due to allergies, so there's an allergen that is causing and stimulating, congestion. It can also be reflux, so the impact of acid that then activates, a sense of congestion at the back of the nasal cavity. Singing is unlikely to be the cause. It may well aggravate it, and so you may, through your singing, because of resonance, become more cognizant, more aware of that sense of nasal gunk. Of course, you can do things to clean this out. You can use a neti pot. You can use just a nasal rinse. You can use a decongestant, like a topical decongestant. Here in Australia, we have a nasal spray called Nasonex, which is an antihistamine. That can be helpful if you've got allergen issues. So these are the things that we can do to work on it. But there can be more complex issues going on as well. So you can have nasal polyps, which are like little stalk-like, it's pretty gross, sort of little stalk things that grow in the back of your nasal passage, which can, leach higher levels of gunk than normal. There can be by virtue of a deviated septum. So it's that the way the nasal, we're not perfectly symmetrical as human beings, but we kind of are, in the sense that, if you run that through there, that is a sort of bony structure at the back, the septum, which can deviate left or right. And so that can be an issue. It can be, there's a whole range of things. Again, the person that would diagnose this in the initial sense would be a laryngologist, and they will often, after they've done a video stroboscopy, or just sticking a camera up through the nose, often to get to the larynx, but if they go through up the nose and they notice these things, they'll often then encourage you to get a CAT scan or an MRI, one of the two, to have that whole, your skeletal structure mapped, so they can determine, you know, is there an issue with the septum, or it can be that your sinuses, that the passages for your sinuses to drain into your nasal cavity, there's issues there. It can be from a fungal. There are so many different things that can cause this, and so again, the best port of call is to go and see a laryngologist. And again, your singing is unlikely to be the cause, but it is likely to exacerbate and aggravate it. So yeah, there you go. We've been able to get through all of our questions, which has been good. Which means I'm got good reason to start bringing our, unless we've got any more questions that are coming in, we will call it a day. Remembering that we won't be here again next week, but I'll let you in on a little secret. There will be an extra vocal analysis that will go live next Monday. I've slated one in just so that we can, you know, in a manner of speaking, still hang out. So that'll go live. So there'll still be 3 videos on the channel next week. And of course, we've got 2 more videos this week. We've got another video on Wednesday and another video that'll go live on Thursday. Vocal analysis videos, which I'm far be it from me to I'm starting to enjoy the process of doing them. Certainly a lot of people seem to be enjoying the vocal analysis videos. I hope you are, if you've managed to catch them. I've already done, like, I think I'm up to having already recorded like 30 or 40. So I've for someone who said for a long time he would never do them, I'm already well and truly into doing them, and enjoying the fact that there seems to be some good learning going on, which is fantastic. We're going to call it a day. Linda, you will be able to go and take a well-needed rest for the next couple of weeks, and to the rest of you, I hope the next couple of weeks does treat you very well. If you've enjoyed today's show, please leave it a thumbs up. But of course, as always, I very much look forward to seeing you again in the next, I went to say vocal analysis, in the next live hangout here at Voice Essentials. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.